Hey everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. Uncensored Match Build Up time, head of the League Cup semi-final second leg. Liverpool versus Tottenham tomorrow night. Anfield, 8 PM. I'm Steve Hood, joined by Luke and by Chloe to have a little look ahead to another massive game for the Reds. Chloe, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I am great, thanks very much. This part of the show is where we usually analyse the opposition. We could take 17 hours and I still don't think we'd quite be able to get our head around Tottenham. They are the most baffling, crazy, mental football club ever. But they showed at the weekend out of nowhere they can win a game. They beat us in the first leg, of course, somewhat controversially, but they got the win. But they are you could tell me Liverpool could score 5 past Tottenham and I could believe you. And you could tell me that Tottenham could keep a clean sheet and I'd be like, well, they've just done it at the weekend. They are a bonkers team trying to get your head around.
Yeah, I can tell you the way that they're going to play, and that's about maybe all I can tell you. I can tell you also that they've had no defenders because that's the only thing that's been shoved down everyone's throats for the past 6 months, and I totally get it. But they are just absolutely crazy. They concede goals left, right and centre, and at times you think they've got a soft belly and you can really get at them, but other times they showed that they can fight through games of football. That game against us, it was a really poor level from both us and them, I think it's fair to say, but they had the better of the chances and they're clinical with their goal. What I will say is that it's a second leg and it's at Anfield, so I mean for them, after the first leg they celebrated. I totally get it. You won halfway into the final and a chance to win a trophy, which they haven't done in a long time. But understand that there's a second leg and the second leg is at Anfield and it's only 1-0.
Absolutely. It's strange because if you look since we played them, and this is like the basket case that is Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, they beat us in that 1-0. They then need extra time to beat Tamworth a few days later. Then they get beat by Arsenal. Then they get beat by Everton. They win at Hoffenheim. Then they have a terrible result. They get beat at Leicester or at home by Leicester. Then they win again in the Europa League. And then they beat a Brentford side 2-0. When Jamie Carragher, famously before the game, says I'd be shocked if they don't concede 3, and they conceded none. They are just trying to work that out. You can beat Liverpool, barely. Arsenal's barely get past them, but they lose to Everton, they lose to Leicester, but they beat Brentford at Brentford. It's bizarre.
It's a mixed bag in it, and they seem to just pull results out their arse, to be honest.
Yeah.
Brentford away is been one of the toughest places to go this season. They've gone there and got a win. Arguably, I'd say Brentford were a little bit wasteful, if you look at the stats-wise, but they were clinical. They took the chances and they took it away 2-0. That's what matters. But if you look at the last 5 in the league, Spurs were 14th in the league. They've lost 4 of the last 5 in the league. We've got to be beating them at Anfield. And it's been a long time since we've had a second leg semi-final at Anfield. It seems the last 2 times we played the first leg at home. And yeah, it's good. I mean, it's over 2 legs. It's something we're not going to get next year. But there's nothing like bringing the second leg back to Anfield and having the crowd behind us. We're only 1 down. You look at stuff like the bookies odds. I think Spurs are 12-1 to win. It's crazy. So everyone's really backing us to go over and get it over the line. Matthias Tell's come in, hasn't he? So he's going to be sort of like a big addition. But whether he's going to play or not, it's going to be a different story. The lad's only 19 and not scored all year, but I feel like everyone's raving about him on Sky. So
they've got no choice. The injury-wise, I'm going to read out the Spurs injury list. And to be fair, it's pretty significant. So Vicario is out, of course. At the back, Romero and now Dragusin. He just did his ACL, so he's out for a while. They've got Odegaard, Maddison, Udogie, Werner, Johnson, and Dom Solanke all out. Mickey van der Ven played in Europe, didn't play at the weekend. They think he'll be available, but they can't take too many chances on him. So whether that means he can play 90 minutes or potentially extra time as well, we don't know. So yeah, they've got loads of players out there managing the fitness of a few others. They did bring in Tell, like you said, and they also signed a centre-back, Kevin Danzo, as well. So that's Spurs in a whole. It's weird, because and honestly, I was asked about this. Usually, second legs a week after or 2 weeks after. It's been a month since pretty much or whatever since Liverpool played Spurs. We're going to get a very different Tottenham side here. And actually, on the flip reverse, Arne Slot confirmed today he's got all his players back. So, apart from Trent, we'll touch upon later. Yeah, I don't know how much you can read into that first leg, given so much has happened between both of them. They've signed players, they've lost players to injury, they've got players back. it just feels like it's a completely different game than 4 weeks ago, or whatever that one was.
Yeah, I mean, they were missing some big players back then as well, but they did have the likes of Dom up top. I mean, I'm a bit devastated that Kulusevski is not one of those names on that list. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be a totally different game. I think also when you look at it, I think we were going through a rough period saying that it was like 3 draws on the bounce or something, 2 draws and like a loss. And going into that game, the outlook of it was a lot different from a Liverpool perspective. We were going in there and we were going, let's see if we can take anything away from the game. They obviously win 1-0 and our outlook is, well, we're still in with it. Fine, yeah. That's fine. Still got a chance, get them back to Anfield, where it felt like there was a lot more pressure on them. Liverpool were trying to, like, we heavily rotated them, rightfully so, because of how much, the league, we had to care about that, and we had some massive games coming up and we weren't in the greatest of form. We'd lost the momentum. We'd drawn to United away earlier that week, maybe, I think it was. So there was a different vibe going into it. Now we're going into it and it's very much a case of, right guys, this is a second leg of a semi-final. It's only 1-0 down. You get this and you've got a chance to go and win a piece of silverware, whilst you're also on top of the league. You've just finished top of the Champions League, and the biggest part of it all is you play Plymouth this weekend, so you can rotate absolutely every single player and put a load of kids out, and you can go full strength against Spurs, try and create an incredible atmosphere and hope that you can scare them, because they are missing some big players. They are a side who at times when they've been kicked and they've stumbled in games, they've completely collapsed. As a Liverpool fan, you've got to try and expect, and you've got to put the pressure on them in the stands to try and make them crumble. It's
interesting as well, Luke, because it's weird because Liverpool at Anfield, Liverpool should win. So there's kind of pressure on us. There should be, when you play. Honestly, to this day, when you play for Liverpool, you're expected to win every game. That's the deal. It's what you sign up for. But Ange did put this thing on him. I usually win a trophy in my second season. He said that. You know what I mean? And I think there's been a little bit of whispers around this, maybe he hasn't lost his job because the Premier League form has been dreadful, but he's got this semi-final and he's got Aston Villa in the Cup on Sunday, and if they go out of both competitions, now again the injury list is significant and you shouldn't underplay it. A lot of managers would struggle with 15 players out or whatever it's been at times, so I get it, but I do wonder if there's pressure on Tottenham from that regard as well. More maybe the manager rather, because in a space of 4 days, Liverpool away, Aston Villa away in 2 cup competitions. Obviously,
your season might be over.
Yeah, well, they still got the Europa League, and we'll see how they go in that. But in terms of his domestic options of winning a trophy, it's a very significant 4 days for him.
Yeah, it is. Well, he's made his own bed now, so now it's time to make him lie in it. Is all you can say about it, really. He's come in, he's been really well. They play really expansive sort of football, but sometimes it can be suicide football at times. It's sort of playing to lose games, because sometimes he's too stubborn to sort of change his ways. I think the first sort of them playing on the break, it sort of worked in their favour. I think Dom Solanke played a big role in it, really, being up there holding the ball up, and then obviously he gets the goal with Ruud offside, sort of raised the crowd. I think without the crowd behind them, I think it's going to be a totally different game, because that Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I wouldn't say it was rocking, but it was certainly, it was certainly an intimidating atmosphere to play in, and we were heavily rotated, as Chloe touched on. Coming into it, we can literally put out a full team. So there's no excuses here for us. We should go out there and we should really beat them 3-4-0, in my opinion. But it's one of them. It's a game of football. Anything can happen. And with them already leading 1-0, it will be interesting to see if they'll try and hold on to the 1-0 and sort of sit back.
I just don't think they can. I don't think that's his philosophy. That's not his philosophy.
Yeah, I don't think they will either. But whether that's the wrong decision to make, sort of a stubborn move from him, it's one or the other. There's no away goals either, so there's nothing in them to go and score one. So.
I think he's probably thinking, Chloe, if I was Ange, I think they probably think that we need to score. Especially if they get the first goal, and then if you do want to play a little bit more defensive, you've got the option to do it with a couple of, again, they are getting a couple of defenders back, so maybe that's his thought. But like I say, we've just went through all the injuries there and the players and what they're missing, but they've still got some good players. Of what we know, you mentioned there, Kulusevski is probably the best player they've got at this moment in time. Son is very up and down at the moment. He feels like he's not quite anywhere near the levels he was, but he's still we know he can be effective. He's been effective against Liverpool, of course, in the past. Richarlison is probably going to start up front. You would guess. They've got young lads I like more. He's been playing on the right hand side. Bentancur and Basuma. They've still got enough players there who can give you the game. Jed Spence, I thought, had a pretty decent game in the cup game. He got the arse ripped out of him a little bit in the league game, but they've still got players there who can hurt you despite the injuries. You shouldn't really take Tottenham too lightly.
No, you shouldn't. Not at all. And look, they beat us in the first leg, so you can't underestimate them. They've got some really good players, and the likes of Kulusevski can just produce a moment of magic. Son can do the exact same. They've got a workhorse midfield. You always think the midfield might have a mistake in them, but they are decent players as well. And the problem really is at the back for them, whether they bring Danzo in, maybe that might help him alongside Mickey van der Ven. Actually isn't that bad of a defence in comparison to them having, I think Archie Gray playing at centre back and things like that. So they will be a decent side. They'll be able to put a decent side out, and they will give us a game. It's just about Liverpool being ruthless, and also the atmosphere hopefully playing a part in the game. But yeah, like you said, they've got the ability to come to Anfield. And look, we can sit here and say we all expect them to play the football that they usually play and not keep a clean sheet, but they kept a clean sheet against us last time, and we had some decent moments. I think Nunes has a couple of big moments. But if they want to dig deep and if they want to put their bodies on the line, I think they can
did that against
do
Brentford.
that.
I saw a bit of the Brentford game, and it was obviously before us, but they really did. Sorry, it was before the City game, and they really did do a bit of that. They showed a new side to themselves, really, because they've never really shown the desire to do that.
They've got that ability, and also sometimes, how many times, it felt like Brentford when we played them, it was going to be one of those days where Liverpool just couldn't find the answer, and that can be on Liverpool as well. So it might be that we're all sat here expecting Liverpool to show up, but Liverpool also has off days, and you can have an off day, so you shouldn't underestimate the game. You should see it as if they're, they've got all their best players there, because you need to be at that level to go and get yourself into a final.
It's interesting because you mentioned before about Matthias Tell. Luke, he is a bit of an X factor in this one. Obviously, they've signed him from Bayern Munich. He's on loan, but I think there's an option or whatever to make it permanent. So he's 19. He's one of those kids who you've heard the name a lot. He's been in and around Bayern's team very much on the fringes. Mm-hmm. He's decided to do what a lot of young players have often done at big clubs, just make the move early. We saw a lot of players have done that. Jadon Sancho famously did. He went the other way over to Germany to get himself going. He is a little bit of an X factor in this, however long they want to give him, what they want to do with him. But he is someone that Liverpool haven't faced before. They don't really know too much about him. I think if you ask Virgil van Dijk and Konate, who we presume will be centre back, although Richarlison's good, they know what Richarlison's about. This lad could just be a little X factor for them at some point, whether he starts the game off the bench. It's certainly something that, a couple of days ago, Liverpool wouldn't have to worry about, but now he is another option that Tottenham have got. Yeah,
I think what's interesting about it is Tell can play across the whole front of the line, so we could play a Mickey Mouse position out on the right-hand side as well, which I would probably think would be more likely to play there, because I'm thinking Richarlison at Anfield, he's going to be up for that, isn't he? He's going to want to play, isn't he? I think his team selection is going to be really difficult, because he could have a situation here where he's handing out a few returning from injury, a few debuts at Anfield in a semi-final. That's not where you want to be making your debut for a football team. It's going to be an absolute terrible atmosphere to play in as an opponent. So it's going to be really difficult for him himself. I know, was at the start month he said a few of them were about 10, 11 days back. I haven't seen his press conference this morning. I've seen our one. But you might have another conversation with a few of them where it's like, oh, you're fit, but am I going to start you? You haven't played for 4 or 5 weeks.
I think that he rested Van der Ven at the weekend suggests that he thinks this is a big game.
I think Van der Ven's going to play.
It looks like he's willing to take a couple of chances for this one. But yeah, you're right. Most of those are meant to still be out.
Yeah.
Van der Ven, he looks like he probably is the one who's probably going to get himself back in the team. But you are right. I think this won't go back to the pressure thing. It almost feels like this is their season. I think if there's anyone who's 80%, you might just go, you know what, you're going to have to get yourselves in there, which could, in the end, benefit Liverpool.
Yeah, it could work in our favour. I think a large narrative as well around the first leg was they got it over the line, and then sort of the post-match was like, oh yeah, we're winning 1-0, and we're going to have all these lads coming back. And then they're not quite there yet, are they? They're not quite ready. I just think if he rushes a few back, it could really, really work in our favour, especially legs-wise, because they're going to be absolutely rampant at Anfield. We're going to be up down. If they want to play the high mentality pressure football that they do, then they're going to have to put the work in, and 80% of they're going to be able to run as much as they can. They're going to put that extra mile in, you just don't know.
It's also worth mentioning, I know there's been a little bit of confusion about it, the game can go to extra time. The League Cup's mad. There's no extra time, there's no second legs, then you get to the semi-final, and there's a second leg, and there's extra time.
What's the one where there's no VAR until you get to a certain point?
This one.
And the ref announces his decisions as well.
I actually enjoy it. I won't lie, that was...
I don't mind it for one that you don't know what's happening. I think we all knew why that goal was given off. It was offside. We all knew that one.
Oh yeah, Yeah, but it was just the idea of like, it was just the chorus of absolute moaning idiots in the ground that I really enjoyed after he'd said it.
Yeah, this one can go to extra time. It's worth clarifying. Like, I wonder if that plays any part in the thinking of the manager whatsoever. Their manager, I think, Chloe, with a team that are struggling for players, and with the bench will be full of young players, even pretty much. I do wonder if he thinks, do I have to hold a couple back on my bench? You know, I don't know, because my guess would be he's desperate to score that goal and hold on, would be my thinking, but it is definitely a consideration here. This could be 120 minutes plus penalties, and he has got a squad that is stretched thin because of injuries. Like that, Postecoglou will be pondering that today, you'd think, at least.
Yeah, he's got to make the decision, because like you said there, he could look at it from the perspective of, right, if this lad can only give me 65 minutes, I'm better playing him for the first 65 and trying to kill the game off, and you know, sitting deep afterwards, literally trying get a smash and grab or get that second goal, get that, you know, little bit of breathing space. But then on the flip side of that, he's also got to think about the challenge that is Anfield, because you can imagine the pressure that is there built on them due to the atmosphere and the relentlessness of, sometimes games of football gets taken out of the hands of the players on the pitch, and Anfield is the greatest at doing that. And sometimes it really benefits you, and sometimes it doesn't, because it's an absolute chaos game of football.
You might see that tonight as well, by the way. St James's could be very similar.
Exactly, it could be that. So he's got to also try and play the atmosphere and the occasion, whilst also trying to you can't guess the way the game's going to go, and he's got to set it up in the best way. But if he takes off if he plays Mickey van der Ven or whatever, and he can only do 70 minutes, you're bringing on a young centre-half there, let's say, you know, they're still 1-0 up even, let's say that, the atmosphere is then going to rise another level when Liverpool realise they're running out of time, because that's just what happens. So you're bringing a young lad on who hasn't had 65 minutes to get into the game and be calm, and we'll just be all over that. So they do have to think about it. Extra time's obviously another thing. And we saw with Tamworth, Tamworth did incredibly well against them to keep hold, could have won it in the 90th minute. And then it went to extra time, and you saw, they're just fitter, stronger. They do this more often. And
like, I don't really want extra time for a lot of reasons.
I'd rather
more because I'm there and like getting on with a nightmare. But also, I think if it went to extra time, Liverpool would certainly, you think, have the benefit of the squad. We'll touch upon that in a moment. Liverpool are, you know, one player out. The manager can do whatever he wants for them. So yeah, interesting on that one. Right then, that's Tottenham pretty much done. After the break, we're going to speak about Liverpool, team news, selections, injuries and all that good stuff. I'm going to go into that break though with a trivia question. You guys can get involved. Everyone watching at home can get involved too. The last time Liverpool played Spurs at Anfield in the League Cup was October 2016. Yeah. We won 2-1. Actually, it was debut for the club. There you go. There's a little snippet for you. Who scored both Liverpool's goals in that game? That is the trivia question. Last time we played Spurs at Anfield in the League Cup, we won 2-1. It was in 2016. Who scored both of our goals? We'll be back with the answer to that and a look ahead to the Liverpool team news after this quick break. Hey everyone, in December we give away a shirt signed by Kenny Dalglish. In January we give a shirt signed by Ian Callaghan away. Well, it's February and we've got another signed shirt to give to one of our wonderful Redmen Plus Legend subscribers. This time it is signed by not one but two icons of the football club. This is a Rome 1984 shirt signed by two of the men who won the European Cup for Liverpool on that day. You've got Ronnie Whelan and you've got spaghetti legs himself, Bruce Grobbelaar. If you want to be in the draw to win this, simply go to redmenplus.com. Join us as a legend subscriber. Get access to all of our amazing extra content in video and in podcast forms. And yeah, you get loads of perks. You get access to the Discord, you get free merchandise, you get discounted merchandise as well. But if you do it today, by the end of February, you'll be in the draw to win this signed shirt. Ronnie Whelan, Bruce Grobbelaar, get yourselves involved right now. Welcome back. Yes, I asked you before the break, 2-1. Last time Liverpool played Spurs in the League Cup at Anfield, it was 2016. Who scored both the goals? Loads of people got this right actually in the chat. Luke, you got it in the break as well. It was...
Yes, Daniel Sturridge.
It was Daniel Sturridge, both goals. Let's see, Clive got it right. Tom got it right. Danny said I was there. It was Sturridge. Yeah, a few people there got
If
it right
anyone
as well.
can paint me a picture of any of these goals, I'd really appreciate it.
Wijnaldum,
I was 14. I do not remember these goals.
Wijnaldum assisted one of them. Gruitch actually assisted the other one. By the way, the Liverpool team, I was going to run for the Liverpool team that played that day. Mignolet in goal, a back four of Ragnar Klavan, Alberto Moreno, a young Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I think Lucas played at the back, I would guess, looking at this team. Gini Wijnaldum, Kevin Stewart, Marco Gruitch, like I said before, Ovia Jaria, Daniel Sturridge, and Divock Origi was the Liverpool 11. I guess Liverpool's 11 tomorrow, Chloe, as a transition there will be a lot stronger. Arne Slot confirmed today at his press conference. The only injury update is that Trent's out, and it's not that bad one. He's actually already back training. Well, he's on the pitch with the rehab fella. He said there's a chance he plays Sunday. Like, we'll find out. They might just rest him for that one. It'll depend how things go, of course, with Conor Bradley.
There's a chance he plays Sunday.
Well, he could be fit for Sunday.
Right, okay.
You'll be anywhere in the team, probably.
Well, if Conor Bradley does 120 minutes tonight, he might say, listen, Trent might have to do it. Joe Gomez is there as well. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But basically, everybody except Trent is available. You're supposed to before, given that it's Plymouth for the weekend and the manager can do whatever he wants in that game, team news-wise, this feels like he's going to pick what he believes is his strongest team. That starting goal was interesting. He was asked about the goalkeeper. He went, well, I know what my decision is, but I haven't told them yet. That's what Arne Slot said. Now, Alisson played in the last game.
Yeah, he did.
Kelleher played a lot of League Cup before that. We do play Plymouth for the weekend, where Kelleher's almost certain to play. Do we just think he is just going to play Alisson?
Yeah, of course. It's a semi-final of a like.
But the last manager didn't.
No, and I get that sentiment. And even when the last manager did it, I was like, I would rather win the game of football. So put your best players in there. Kelleher's been a hero, and you know there's a chance he could do it again. And if he's on the team sheet, I'm not bothered by it. Like I'm fine with that. But I would just stick with Ali. I think. He had his best game since coming back from injury against Bournemouth the other day, and I just feel like, go back with
Can I feel back to Kelleher though? Because I feel like if he didn't have a little bit of the calamity against Newcastle, he probably would have played that Tottenham game.
Yeah.
Then he probably would have put him in the position to play this game as well.
I think that one was more along that he wanted Alisson getting games.
Yeah.
I think Plymouth at the weekend makes it easier, where he can say, you're playing at the weekend, pal. So, and if we win that one, we'll let you play the next one, because by that point, the FA Cup will be, I mean, it already is fourth priority at this point in time, so we'll see how he goes. But I think it'll probably be Alisson. The back four, then, let's start. Well, Conor Bradley will be at right back. Pretty much, we know that. Obviously, Trent's out. I don't think the manager will use Joe Gomez. He might start at the weekend, I would guess. So Van Dijk and Arte will be a centre-back, Chloe. And then, it's again, we have this conversation on every single build-up show. It's what the manager fancies doing at left-back is the question. Cottas didn't get on, did he, at the weekend?
No.
Andy Robertson had one of his better games.
Yeah.
We've got, again, to go back to Plymouth at the weekend. Do you think he'll ask Robbo to go twice in a week? Because that's kind of been a thing where people have wondered about Robertson. Has he got it in his legs to go again? It'll be interesting to see what the manager does. What do you think he'll do?
Well, I think it's tough because if Costas was on the team sheet, once again, that's a rotation I can see and I can understand. I still think we're in a semi-final there when you've got Costas is playing the weekend against Plymouth. So you might as well ask Robbo to go again. He obviously did, I think it was like 60, 65 maybe against PSV. He then plays the full 90 against Bournemouth. I'd be telling Robbo to go again and have the weekend off. But if Costas does play, if there's any worry that, Robbo doesn't have it in him. And also you can bring Costas on with however long to go. You've got 5 subs. It's absolutely sound to do that. I'd just go with the lad who's in form, and Robbo once again had his best game of the season against Bournemouth.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I want Robbo to play. I think Simcast might play, but the only theory behind this is he did the pre-match interview yesterday, the written one. So I'm thinking maybe he's in. He
of course he started the first leg, but be keen. I think he'll probably ask Robbo.
I think so as well.
I think you might see both. You might see a bit of both of them. But I think we're relatively okay with either of them. Midfield. Is it just going to be Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, and we move on?
It should be.
Definitely.
Yeah. I agree. I think we missed Szoboszlai actually last time.
His best game came against Spurs as well.
Spurs, it was fantastic, you're right. And then, okay, so Salah plays on the right-hand side. It's the same question we have every week, Chloe. What happens here?
Gakpo Diaz. Diaz had a phenomenal game against them in that 6-3 win. The tactics of it worked.
Is It was Jota wasn't in the first leg, and it didn't really work.
No, it didn't work. And then Nunes came on, and Nunes actually, he stretched them, and it was quite, like, he had moments and chances. But I think you can do that you can bring Nunes on with 20 to go if you really need to keep stretching them.
And Jota.
Yes, and you've got Jota, obviously. But I'd tell Diaz to go again, because what we did so well against them in that league game, if we can try and, do that again, we might be able to bully them at the back and just, cut them apart with Dom, overlapping, Diaz coming short. And we saw it the other day. Look, Diaz, I think, against Bournemouth, first 15 minutes we couldn't get Diaz into the game. It wasn't working. We weren't understanding why it wasn't working, and then we once realised that once Diaz comes short, that the ball in behind is the reason and the thing that we need to do, and it worked and got us a pen. So hopefully we can do that against this Spurs team. And also, if they played the likes of Danso, who has been there 2 days, whatever it is, hopefully he follows Diaz and just gets caught out of the blue, because sometimes you can just do that, and it would be his debut.
I think there's an argument, just an alternative argument. I do agree with you, Chloe. I think it will be that front three, that we could play a more traditional line and maybe play Nunes, just so we've got Diaz as an option off the bench, or Gakpo as an option off the bench, whoever he decides to start out there, and then you've got Jota as another option coming on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he played Nunes actually with Diaz. I wouldn't be that surprised, but if he feels like he's just going to pick what he thinks is best team, I think at this moment in time we all know what he thinks is best team.
Nunes scored 2 against Brentford, was the hero, and he's not being picked in the starting.
Yeah,
I think
like, he's just not.
I don't know what he plays 90 against PSV, doesn't he? But he's ill.
Yeah, he would have played. This is where it gets interesting.
That's a game in which we've rotated. That is a game which he's gone, use aren't my starting 11.
Yeah,
I
true.
don't use too much. I can risk to get you, like, if you get injured or pick up a niggle or anything. That is what that game is.
Yeah.
So it's not like he'd have started a major game. It was a dead game that we'd put a load of lads out who we didn't really.
The bench will be fascinating, Chloe, because at the weekend he couldn't even fit everyone on it. Like, Gomez and Chiesa we're missing now. Since that game, obviously Alexander Arnold's picked up an injury, so Gomez, you think, is just a natural replacement for him. It'll be interesting to see if Chiesa can even get himself on this bench. It's difficult really, because he's allowed is 9 bench. Kelleher will be on it. Gomez will have to be on it because there's no Trent anymore.
Yeah.
One of Timakaas or Robertson will be on it. Quanta will be on it. Enzo, Elliott, Jones.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're looking at, then it'll be the other strikers who don't play.
Yeah.
Nunes, Jota.
So potentially Nunes, Jota. Again, like, it might be Chiesa. You might just give someone the week off. We don't know. He might just save Chiesa for Plymouth, which would make a bit of sense as well. But that's a very strong bench. If Liverpool are looking to, if this game goes late and it's close, Arne Slot's got all bases covered there. The fact that we're on February 5th and we've got one player out, and by the way, it's only a minor issue, that really could play into Arne Slot's hands tomorrow against a Spurs side who are struggling for numbers a little bit.
Yeah, and I guess also the Plymouth game, you look at it and you go, right, Chiesa, I'm going to try and play you 90 minutes again, which is why I'm probably not going to risk you, for this game. I'm not sure he's going to be happy with that. Liverpool might do something where they might take a risk. It really doesn't feel like they will. But if you've got Joe Gomez there, you might just say to Quanta, right, well, Wataru Endo can do that centre-back role.
Yep.
Curtis Jones can do me DM. Curtis Jones can do me DM role and me 10 role and me 8 role. So, like, he can fill the Wataru Endo midfield role, and then you've got Harvey Elliott who can do the Curtis Jones Dom Sobo role. So that's how you fit Chiesa on. That is the only option I could think of. But whether Liverpool do that or not is a different thing. But I would love to see Chiesa on the bench.
Whatever he does, though, Chloe, go back to it. Like, it's a quality.
It's a ridiculous.
It's a quality bench. Like, all bases covered. If you're trying to win a game, there's options. If you're trying to hold on to a game where you need to defend the game, there's options as well. Like, he's got a lot going for him. Yeah. Honest. Like, this is a 90-minute, potentially 120-minute game. It's worth mentioning if it goes to extra time, you get another sub. Like, Liverpool's bench could really come into play. Again, it's why I go back to Postecoglou earlier. They need to score early, because the longer this game goes, you feel it goes and plays more into Liverpool's hands, especially with such strength and depth that they've got at the moment.
Yeah, they do, and it's not like we've got players who offer the same thing. You know, you've got that Wataru Endo, who, if you've got to see something out, he can come on. You've got Curtis Jones, which in two different roles can do two different things. He comes on and positively influences the game against Bournemouth. You've obviously got Nunes for if you need to stretch the back line, but then you've got the absolute outrageous intelligence of Diogo Jota, who just produces pieces of magic and can do everything and lead the line. So you've got so many options. You've got Costas to come on if he doesn't start, which improves your set pieces. So there is a Harvey Elliott who can, you know, unlock and pick and unlock doors. Like, it's just, there is so much quality on the bench. And from a Liverpool perspective, that's why we can go into this game and we can create a great atmosphere. But we know that we don't actually have to go. We've got ourselves into a position where, yeah, we'd have liked a 0-0 more than obviously losing 1-0. But there is no stress in that first 45 to 50 minutes, because you just keep them moving, make them exhausted, find the little gaps that come up. And also, you know that you've got so many different weapons off the bench that can unlock a team. So from our perspective, we just need to play our game of football and hope that, you know, they get tired or they make errors and the occasion's just too much for them. Because, by the way, like, we're sat here talking about, oh yeah, it'd be lovely to get to another final. You know, we won this with, you know, Jurgen Klopp's youngsters won it last year. Like, they've not been in this situation for how long? And this is a team that are young, a manager who's under a lot of stress. Like, there was a lot of pressure on this game for Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they react. Like I say, Tottenham's history suggests that sometimes the pressure doesn't always work with their way, but we'll find out if Postecoglou can change that. Very quickly, this is part of the show where we look at other fixtures. Now there's only one other. Obviously, we're in the semi-final, Chloe. Obviously, by the time a lot of you listening might be catching up on this one, it might have already happened if you're not with us live. But Newcastle, Arsenal tonight is massive, really. Obviously, Newcastle have that 2-0 lead, and they're bringing it back home with them. They are massive favourites to advance. Do you see that being the case? Do you think it'll be Newcastle awaiting the winner of Tottenham Liverpool v Tottenham?
I hope so. I think Arsenal beating City might have gave them a decent boost at the weekend. I won't lie, it felt like it did that. However, it's St James's Park, and I love going there because of the atmosphere that
I just think Newcastle will score.
It bounces. So look, the thing is that Newcastle don't have to do anything here. They can sit back and catch you on the counter, and we've seen that Arsenal, aside from at the weekend, have at times struggled to really break teams down and score, and especially when there's pressure on you. Go back to the fact that they're 6 points off the league, potentially 9 if Liverpool win their game in hand, and truthfully Arteta's only won 1 FA Cup in his entire time there, so there's a lot of pressure on them. They need to get over the line and win something. So I'm hoping that Newcastle just have too much for them. The occasion's just too much for them. I
think that's going to be the biggest game at St James Park this season so far, really. Ever since they had the European nights there, it didn't quite work out for them. They've been craving a big night like this, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be absolutely unbearable to play in, and it's one of them. We talk about Anfield sort of sucking the ball into the net at times. It's going to be that sort of atmosphere where they are going to be the 12th man, and they're taking a 2-goal lead.
I can just see Newcastle sitting back and getting a goal on the counter. Gordon and Isak on the break. I just think Newcastle will score, and that makes it really difficult. I would like it to go to extra time, really, and then because just why not throw half an hour's extra legs into both of them. But yeah, you've got to presume Newcastle. If Arsenal get through this one and can overturn 2-0 at St James's, like, they are banging form again. You are right, though. I think if Newcastle will know, if we sit and be solid and combative, which we are, and then you've got Gordon, Murphy and Isak on the break, it feels like it's set up for them to get through. But we'll find out in due course who's waiting then. Quick one, we had a super chat before we asked you guys your prediction. Old Man Dego, nice name. Let them think the Brentford result will affect us. Oh, I see what you mean. I think that means maybe let Spurs think that they're playing well when really they're not. I'm guessing it's
something like that. Yeah, he's a bit of a legend, Old Man Dego. He told Danny he had nice legs last week, so.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
there you go.
You know he has. Yeah, he's an astute judge legs, I guess. Dan's got fantastic pins, yeah. But anyway, back to the show. Score predictions? Do you think we're getting through?
This.
Do you think we're score predictions?
Do you think we're getting through?
Yeah, I think we're getting through. I think maybe an early goal, but I do think maybe it's a bit of a crazy game. I'm thinking maybe 4-2, 5-2, something like that.
Tom thinks 2-0 to Liverpool with Gaspar.
I think it's going to be a really tight game.
Do you? Yeah.
Okay.
Really tight game.
David is going 3-0. LFC Blocks Collectibles, nice, is going 4-0. So there's a lot of confidence in the chat. I'll go first then, Chloe, if you want keen to go. Yeah, I think 3-1 to Liverpool.
I think Liverpool win. Do not ask me the score. Liverpool advance.
That's fine. I'll
Thank
take
you.
that. 3-0 from Nigel, 3-1 from Bora, 3-1 from who is Greg.
I think we concede, by the way.
I think 3-1, but I just think Liverpool are going to have too much in depth as well, the way it goes. Zayn thinks we're going to win on pens, which is fine. Yeah, take that every day.
Also, hi, Greg.
Yeah, big
what else is in Mr. Moses 4-2, Nathan 3-0. There's a lot of confidence within the fan base. Hopefully Liverpool can get it done. Very quickly, we're all going. We're expecting a bounce in Anfield atmosphere for a semi-final. I know it's the League Cup, but listen, I remember the last time, unfortunately, I went to a League Cup semi at Anfield, and it was the second leg we got beat, and it was Southampton, and it was a long time ago, and it was a different stage, but sometimes, yeah, again, League Cup, it can be a little bit up and down, whatever, but I'm expecting it to be rocking, Chloe, you?
Massively. Look, for the first 4 rounds or whatever, you're like, who cares? There's bigger things at play. It is the second leg of a semi-final to get to a final, to win a cup that you won last year. And look, we can all sit here and say we want the Premier League and we want the Champions League, and rightfully so, we do. But you can't turn your nose up at winning trophies along the way. That's what makes you. Yeah,
if you're going to lose this competition, get knocked out early.
Yeah.
By the time you get here, you might as well
go for it. So yeah, I'm expecting a really good atmosphere, an excited atmosphere as well. Because like you said there, it's getting to another final, and yeah, it might add another game and people might think it might hinder us in the long run, but I want to win trophies and major honours and continue to put ourselves as the most decorated football club in English football. So to do that, I'd like to get to another final and give ourselves an opportunity.
I think there's an element as well, we learned our lesson with that Southampton game many years ago, because everyone was sort of playing it down like it was a Nottingham game, but it was a League Cup semi, and we hadn't won anything for a little while since 2012. And we come out of that, and there was a viral Redmen clip, wasn't there, about the lad who was gutted about the Ospo and the atmosphere being terrible. And I think ever since that, we learned our lesson. It's a semi-final, you want to go and win. As a match-going fan, them Carabao Cup final days out are absolutely unbelievable. Yeah. So that's what you want.
Never get bored of winning trophies.
No.
I again, like I say, I'm not. The League Cup is the League Cup, but once you get to a semi-final, you might as well win it. You know, what's the point at this stage? So I think
once again, like you said, it's not the first leg where you're playing and then you don't get to see if you've got the reward at the end of it. This is whatever happens in this game of football, you get to realise if you're in a final or not. You don't have to wait weeks and weeks to play again to try and make sure you're in that final.
I like that we're playing second as well. You already know we're going to be playing at Wembley, so
yeah.
Happy days, right then, guys. Thanks very much. Enjoy the game. I'm sure we'll see each other around there at some point during the time as well. Yeah, thanks very much everyone for watching. Listen, there will be a watch along for the game, of course, like there is every single Redmen game. An hour and 20 minutes before kickoff, so that's about 20 to 7. Join Dan, Errol and Jamie for that one. Make sure you check it all out, and yeah, we'll catch you soon to that.